Ready. And everything's recording. So, this is, as Facebook is building our audience, and I'm trying to swallow, I've got here, this is my Rantz and Raves podcast, which I'm also doing it live via Facebook. I'm your host, Mickey Angeline. Visualist, podcast philanthropist, blogger on medium.com as the bad Filipino. And I've got my new good friend, an awesome spiritual guru, Heaven. Thanks for being here, girl.
Oh yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited you're here. And so if you're wondering why we're holding microphones, it's because I try to get as much done. So I'm also doing the audio for this, for my Rants and Raves podcast that I have on my new website that's going to come out the end of this month, and I'm excited about that.
Yay!
Yay! So as we do this, and people are joining in, and feel free to, if you want to share this video on your page to encourage others to watch, we're going to talk some really cool stuff, because Heaven here is a medium. She does tarot card reads. She teaches all about like your chakras and your cleansing and how to ground and protect yourself, like all that stuff. So let's give our viewers and I guess listeners, who you are and what you do, and then how you got into it.
Okay, for sure. Well, I'll start off. My name's Heaven. What I do in a nutshell, tarot reads, oracle reads, medium reads, intuitive reads. I don't necessarily always use my cards. It's just kind of a tool for me to get the mojo flowing. This journey in and of itself has been pretty quick for me, because I started doing this more actively a few months ago, probably starting in January. And it just exploded. The more I used my abilities, the more refined they got, the more research I did, and then I decided just to open up a page for learning, because I found that a lot of people want to learn about these things. They want to learn about how to develop their own abilities. So moving forward with that, the abilities just, I've always had the ability to read people. Not
At, like, what age were you when you first realized you could read people? How about that?
I'm going to say probably about 11.
Wow.
I had some experiences. For example, I was really close, still am, with my brother, and he dated some people, and I didn't necessarily like them. Didn't quite understand why.
Okay, I was going to say, because we often, and that could be also intuition. We often, when we get weird vibes from people.
Absolutely.
But for you, it probably went even further than that. Further than just intuition.
Yeah, and with people, everybody in the world has the ability to have this intuition and to have this kind of gut feeling like something's not right about somebody. It's just a matter of recognizing it and being able to fine tune it so that you're better able to understand the messages that you're getting. Like I said, with my brother, he had people that I didn't necessarily like, and I'm like, hey, I don't like you, and they're like, you're just being mean because you want your brother to yourself. No. It came out to be that they ended up cheating on him or other things, so I just sensed that something was off.
Gotcha. So, like, had you known back then, you probably could have read your brother's cards and go,
right,
dude, she's gonna cheat on you. You might want to drop her like a bad habit.
Right.
That's so incredible. Okay.
And it's not necessarily always something that's welcome information. You chat with people and you say, hey, I'm getting a feeling about this, or I'm getting a feeling about that, and it's not always welcome information. One, because the individual may be in denial about what they're going through and they don't want to actually hear it. But eventually, if they're open to receiving the information, they'll eventually understand, hey, you know what, there was some validity in what you said. It's just a matter, like I said, of being open to it and understanding that somebody can actually see these things without having to see them.
Feel like it's voodoo, or feel like they should burn you at the stake.
Right.
You know, and that's a good point to make, because a lot of people who do know that I'm a Reiki practitioner, so I exercise the demons. I, perform Reiki energy healing, but always, even when people come to me and ask for it, I always have to ask permission to touch them, and then ask permission if I sense things, or if things come to me, would you like to hear what that is?
Right.
Because you're right.
Right.
Even though they may come to you and go, yeah, I want my cards read, and then you start to reveal stuff.
And they're like, oh,
right.
I didn't know it was going to be like that.
Exactly. Because I'm sure Now tell me this: do you get a feel that they're trying to see like if you're the real deal?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So it's almost like being at a carnival and
Absolutely.
paying the $3 or the $10 and like read my fortune.
Absolutely. I mean, and that in and of itself just happened to me not that long ago. And actually, another moderator on my page, people give us pushback a lot because they're like, okay, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. But the main barrier that I've experienced and the main barrier that other people experience in the realm of spirituality is trusting yourself and trusting the information that you're getting. And if you get this information and you're giving this information to an individual and they're like, no, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right. Of course, you're going to have a moment where you're like, holy crap, what am I doing wrong? Am I manifesting this information on my own? What's going on? But just like the gentleman that I had not too long ago, he was extremely religious.
Okay.
And also a federal agent. So he was very black and white, very black and white with everything he was seeing. And when I was telling him this stuff, he was like, no, this isn't true. But then the next day he came to me and said, you know what? I reached out to other family members and everything that you said was true and correct.
There you go. And sometimes someone needs that. Mm-hmm. And you, I'm guessing you're pretty patient with that.
Oh yeah.
Because
I understand. Especially because this individual dealing with the loss of his grandson who was 5. Oh. So that's really tough.
That is tough, especially at that age.
Oh yeah. So it was hard because he doesn't know me from Adam.
This is true. And or like I like to say,
little boy came to
from
me.
Adam's cat.
This little boy came to me and was like, hey, I'm here. And I'm like, oh, I need to help you find your people because you're lost. You don't know you've passed. I'm going to help you.
Because you're a medium.
Yes. I'm going to help you, but it took me and a few other people trying to reach out to other groups, trying to find where he belonged. And I finally found, and I reached out and I said, hey, this is the information that I've had since March. This little boy died in April.
Oh, wow.
So I knew it before he passed.
Oh, wow.
But come to find out, I guess he had told his mom around March. They went to church and he asked his mom, what is it like to die? So he might have already known that that was his path.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it was hard. I mean, it's really hard for me as an individual getting this information because I'm coming from a place of light. I'm coming from a place of positivity. And it's really hard for people to understand that I'm not looking for anything.
Correct.
I don't want
You're not trying to create this,
I'm not gaining anything.
The anxiety, the sad, the stress. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but if anything, as a medium, though, mm-hmm. This is probably when you teach about the grounding and the protection because... Mm-hmm. If you're so open mm-hmm. that you could take in...
a myriad of everything.
Yeah, like you could take in that negativity, that the pain.
Right.
Probably a lot of pain that comes with people who've passed.
Absolutely. It's hard. It's definitely a challenge. I constantly have to make sure that I'm grounded. I constantly have to make sure that I'm protected and put my intention out there that I don't want anything that's not of the light. Right. Because, when you open that door, you're opening that door to both sides.
It's like Pandora's box.
Mm-hmm. Woohoo! You're not just saying, okay, I want these good people to come to me. You're opening this box and everybody, it's kind of like a bat signal. Hey, I'm here. I can hear you. I can see you. I can connect you with who you want to talk to. But you sometimes get things that you don't want. So it's really important to maintain grounding. It's really important to maintain that protection so that you're not allowing those negative energies into your bubble, so to speak.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a page earlier because you run a page.
Mm-hmm. The page that I run is Psychic Exposures, Learning and Spiritual Growth. It's on Facebook. We just opened it in March. It's going really well. There's a lot of pages on Facebook that are free read pages, a lot. And I want to be able to allow people to have the opportunity to get these free reads because not everybody has money, and I get that. People need guidance. I get that. But like I said earlier, there's a lot of people that are looking for information on how to develop their spiritual abilities, if they have any, how to move forward with them, and that's what I developed the page for. Which
is awesome because I'm on it. I know I've been quiet because I'm developing and rehoning my skills and getting my mastership hopefully this summer. Good. But I definitely need to make myself a little more vocal on your page so people know that I'm just not stalking. Luckily, I'm just not stalking. I'm just not trolling the page. So, real quick though, for those who are like just piping in, because this is Heaven and we're going over how awesome she is as a spiritual guru. Can you share with us possibly like one of maybe the freakiest, not freakiest, but like a freaky moment you've had as a medium?
Well,
because people love freaky, so that's what I'm going to ask.
I had one incident. Oh, I wouldn't call it an incident. I had one interaction. I was on a page before that did a lot of free reads, and I would go on live and do free reads just to kind of reach out and help people with whatever it is that they were seeking. Right before I went on my live feed, because I had announced that I was going, right before I went on, there was a lady from the page that reached out and said, hey, I love watching you live. I can't wait to watch. And I kind of just, okay, cool. That's great. I'm glad you're here. Didn't really think much of it. And then right before I went live, I started humming Amazing Grace. Amazing Grace is not something that's in my back of my brain. I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. So it was really out of character for me to hum that. So I was like, okay, well, this has to mean something.
Right.
So I went into the live feed, and before I even started with reading the cards and stuff, I prefaced it by saying, hey, I'm getting something about Amazing Grace. I keep hearing Amazing Grace. Does anybody resonate with that? Does anybody have anybody that passed away that may connect with what I'm trying to get at? And it took a little while, but I was able to finally find the individual. Her brother had committed suicide.
Oh.
And when he committed suicide, she sang Amazing Grace to him. And that day when I went live, she was singing Amazing Grace because she was thinking about him.
Oh, wow.
So I knew that was a very definitive sign that it was him that was trying to connect. So we chatted. I had a moment where I kind of lost it and bawled my eyes out because I felt really connected with him and his emotions. And I was able to tell her things that resonated with him specifically. And then afterwards, he wanted me to wait to tell more information. He wanted to do it private, which I respected.
I can understand that.
So,
and not on a huge public feed. Like this right here.
So I reached out to her after the live feed to kind of just give her more information that he was showing me. And I found out and realized what I didn't realize before. It was the woman that had reached out to me before saying that she couldn't wait to see me live. So he knew that she was going to be in there.
Mm-hmm. That's... Woo!
Yeah.
Now, and for those that are, watching the live feed here on Facebook, you can pipe in. I mean, we're not going to really respond as much, but definitely pipe in if you want to share some stories. And I can resonate with that because on a softer level, when I do Reiki energy healing, that's why I get that permission, because often whatever's resonating with that person, things will pop in my head. Like I always give this example. I was doing an energy heal on a young woman, and I was near her knees. And all of a sudden I kept getting this feeling of vomit in my throat, in the back of my throat. And I'm just making this face, and she asked what was going on. And I was like, yeah, I'm just getting this like it's throw up, like it's caught in my throat. So then when it was done, she let me know, she admitted to me she had been doing the old eat and heave. She was bulimic.
Yeah.
And only recently, she had been doing it for 2 or 3 weeks, and I picked up on that. Didn't know she was doing that. So that's why I'm I know what that's like, but
absolutely.
On a different level. Yours is way deeper. Yours is spookier.
And it happens a lot. The medium part of me, and this is what a lot of people, it's useful for anybody to understand when you're trying to get with a medium and you're trying to connect with somebody that's passed away. One thing that's really, really important to know is we cannot, and there's no way that we can force these spirits to come to us. If they don't want to come and they don't want to talk, they're not going to come and they're not going to talk.
That's fair enough.
I've had a lot of people come to me saying, I want to connect with my grandma, or I want to connect with this person, or I want to connect with that person. And I can definitely try, but I cannot guarantee that it's going to happen.
Because maybe they don't want to connect with you.
Exactly.
Maybe they ran from you for a reason.
And that's why they pop up when they pop up. I do lives or I do reads. If I do private reads, I'll be chatting with somebody and I'll let them know, hey, just a heads up, I'm a medium, so somebody might pop up. And 90% of the time they do.
That's crazy. Man. So then, okay, so touching a bit on, because on your page you give a lot of valuable information. I know recently, with the pink full moon, you had information with that, which was valuable. And then lately you've been posting the chakras and knowing which of them are blocked. So give the listeners a little background on chakras.
Chakras, there's 7.
7 main ones. Yeah.
Each individual chakra has different properties as far as what part of your emotional being, what part of your internal being it controls. On the group page, I've been posting each individual chakra, showing how they're overactive, because if you have a blockage in your chakra or if it's closed, you're going to have certain symptomatic things. If they're overactive, there's going to be other symptoms that you're going to be experiencing. So it's really useful and important to know what each chakra does, what the importance of each chakra is, what it is if it's closed, what it is if it's opened too much, and how to balance and cleanse them. It's really important for individuals that are on a spiritual path to make sure that they have their chakras aligned, they have them open, they have them balanced, they have them cleansed, because if they're not, there's going to be chaos in some form or way or another. Like individuals may experience some kind of artistic blockage, even if it's not spiritual. If they're not trying to do anything spiritual and they're trying to like write or paint, whatever the case may be, if there's some or all of your chakras are blocked, that's going to cause that block of creativity within the individual. And that's why I've been posting a lot about these chakras, because that's the first step to moving forward into anything spiritual or not. Making sure that those are on point, making sure that you're grounded. If you're not grounded, the term grounded is exactly what it is. It's pretty simple, just making sure that you're connected to the earth. Because if you're not, you're going to be like flighty, and things aren't going to make sense, and things are going to be chaotic, and they're going to be flying in the air. And that's why I've always expressed all the time, it's so important to maintain your grounding.
Absolutely, because your aura, which as a healer myself, it's important that I keep my aura pulled in. And I've been taught to picture it as like a white light that surrounds you, and bring it in as close as you can, even within, like, just picture in your mind maybe an inch from your body, just to give you a picture, because a lot of people just don't. And you just throw your aura out there like a fishnet. And there's no filter. Like, one of the worst places to have your aura open is a bar or a club. Because, well, maybe clubs, it depends. Like, bars, definitely.
Anywhere where alcohol is involved.
Well, definitely bars, because often people go to bars to drown sorrows because they're very upset. Whereas in club situations, it's a mix. They're upset, they're trying to get laid. They're upset and trying to get laid. But a lot of it will be, like, not so positive. And if you're not careful, if you've ever wondered, if you've walked into a club or a bar and you get a weird feeling, you're picking up on everyone's vibe. And if you don't pull your aura in, you're going to get caught up in that. So the grounding is important. The cleansing is important. Yeah, the protection.
The protection is the protection and the grounding and all that is a lot of visual. So if you're not able to like visualize these things, then you might need to like practice on your patience. I've learned a lot of people are having issues, because I post a lot of meditations and stuff that are really helpful and really
I'm so glad you, because I was going to bring that up too. That's like one of the ways you show how you can work on that.
But when you're not centered and you're not grounded, it's really difficult to maintain that focus when you're meditating. So I've learned through other people, because I've never really had an issue with meditating. I enjoy it. I'm like, this is my happy place
to meditate.
But some people have a hard time with maintaining that focus. So, and they think that they need to go, like, for lack of a better way of putting it, balls out, and do like a meditation for like an hour. No, you don't have to. There's 5-minute meditations that you can do just to kind of get yourself into the groove.
Like, start with 5, start with 10, just work up to. You're talking gurus of thousands of years and generations of training to do it like for an hour all day. And especially, I think, I know it took me a while to learn it, because, you know, anyone who's ADD, ADHD, OCD, hyperactive, it's really hard to pull that in. It's like, I remember when I was younger, people would say, clear your mind. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Picture a blank wall. So I would picture the blank wall, but then I would see all the little details and the wall itself, and picture a blank page. So I'm focusing on the margin and the blue, like, college. Like, I couldn't do it. It took me years to be able to.
It's difficult.
So just understand that everyone goes on their pace. Like, you obviously ain't nothing but a chicken wing.
And with meditation, a lot of people think that, like, right off the bat when they start doing meditation, that they have to be completely silent. That is not the case. When you're first starting and you're practicing with meditation, the first thing you're going to want to try to focus on is just kind of letting things flow, not trying to maintain so much control, and just let that if thoughts want to flow through your brain, let them float through your brain. It takes a lot of, like you said, a long time to get to the point where you're just like, okay, I'm just going to focus on this.
Correct. And, you know, I've been told too, like, if it floats, let it float, but then bring yourself back. Like, allow it to float, but then bring yourself back.
And focus on breathing. That's going to be the main thing that's going to pull you back to where you're at, because your brain's going to go, oh, what am I going to cook for dinner tonight? Or I wonder what this person's doing.
Did I feed the cat?
focus back on your breathing. A hummingbird. Focus on sorry.
Focus on your hummingbird.
Going back to the breathing. Focus on your breathing. And there's tons and tons and tons of different breathing exercises that people can do that help hone in that focus that you need to have. But just practice just general breathing in the beginning. Because if you try to do like too much too quick, it's just going to be frustrating.
Oh yeah, and especially, and let me point this out too. I remember reading breathing. You'd be surprised at how many people do not breathe correctly, and we breathe shallow. The older we get, focus on this one because, like, as children, watch a baby or a toddler breathe. Their whole stomach expands as they breathe in, comes back out because that's the proper way to do it. When you expand, you're supposed to fill from your diaphragm to your belly out. The older we get, the more shallow our breathing gets to where when we're older, we're only breathing from the throat out. We're not getting in all the much needed oxygen that enriches our blood and fills us. So chances are, when you start out meditating,
it's going to be hard.
You may hyperventilate. You may get a little, dizzy because you haven't really focused on breathing in general. You kind of take it for granted that I'm in, I'm
just
out.
Do it naturally. It's just going to happen naturally.
Because I remember the first time I learned meditating, it was a 6-second count. Of like a 6 count of it coming in and a 6 count of it coming out. That seems like forever. And then you get lightheaded. So once you understand the dynamics of breathing, I think focusing enough on breathing is a great way to try to knock everything else out of your thoughts.
Absolutely, because it's hard. It has to be like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to count for this many seconds. Then I'm going to breathe out and I'm going to count. That's the focus. You're just concentrating on the counts that you're breathing, and you're allowing your mind to just kind of quiet down. Because, I mean, in this day and age, life is busy. Life
and
is
social
crazy.
media. We're constantly going. That's the biggest thing. Before it was the TV.
Right.
Now it's your phones.
Everybody's in their phones all the time.
Right. So the problem with that is there's a half a second focus, right? Because you can stream, you're looking, and it's killing your ability to focus. Killing it.
Absolutely.
I would definitely recommend turning off electronics the first time you start. Use a good old-fashioned watch or even, a clock if you want to know how long you've been doing it.
Right.
But don't be in front of a TV, turn your phones off or silence them completely because...
They also have the guided meditations on YouTube that have been really helpful for individuals that don't know how to meditate.
There you go.
I personally, sometimes I use guided meditation, sometimes I use music, sometimes I don't use anything at all. But that's taken a lot of practice. But individuals that are first getting into meditation, I try to point them in the direction of the guided so that they have that voice telling them what to do.
Oh, that's good.
Okay,
I
breathe
think you
in
shared those,
and then
you,
breathe
on the
out.
page?
Yeah, it tells you when to breathe in, when to breathe out, what to visualize. And all of the guided meditations have different purposes. Meet your spirit guide, or guided meditation for anxiety, or protection. There's everywhere on YouTube. There's a guided meditation for everything. So, and it's not just necessarily about spiritual growth. Like I said, they've got guided meditations that for 5 minutes in the morning to start with before you go to work in the morning, just to kind of get you off onto the right
I need
foot.
to get back to that. I have to admit, I have not been doing that, and I really should. Especially, I know a lot of you listening and watching. It's been a really trying year for people. Probably in the last 2 months specifically, it's been really a struggle for people for all different reasons. Oh, you can put it up there. That's fine.
Are you sure?
Oh, absolutely. Whether it's the loss of a job, a loss of a loved one, unable to pay bills, your car breaks down, you break a hip, like all these things that are happening that are just causing people to spiral out of control of their emotions and getting depressed and in anxiety. Things like the meditation will help greatly. It's something simple and it's somewhere to start.
Absolutely.
I've
noticed too that a lot of people recently, relationships seem to be a big issue right now.
Oh yeah, like some people are like it's an amazing thing, and others it's the worst thing ever.
Right.
Because why? My Facebook feed tells me. I can tell when someone's all happy in love and when someone's like love stinks.
The energy is just really crazy, and it's just again really important to maintain grounding. Really important to maintain your focus on yourself. and not so much the focus of other people. That's where people are getting lost.
Agreed. It's so easy to get lost in other people. You know, this is Kyla. This is my doggy Kyla. She likes to be in on these interviews. Yeah, it's probably and I just did myself. I just did a live feed video Monday, and I talked about how I'm really needing to learn how to be happy for myself. And look to myself instead of other people for happiness.
Right.
Because we're trained from the birth to look to someone for happiness.
We have to find this
husband, that wife, that partner.
Disneyland.
Yes.
Fantasy. Oh, I have to find this. And that's another thing that I was actually chatting about in the page not that long ago. The terms soulmate and twin flames.
Can we talk about that real quick?
So glorified.
Because I know soulmate, but I don't know what twin flame is.
Twin flames, essentially, my understanding, because I don't really...
And pipe in if you know what we're talking about.
Absolutely. I don't really delve into that much, because I'm not a believer of that stuff. I believe that there's people out there. But as far as soulmates, a soulmate could be your dog. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be your best friend.
An entity.
It could be whatever.
Okay.
Twin flames, from my understanding and my... research that I've done, a twin flame is an individual that is the exact mirror image of you.
Oh.
So a soulmate is somebody that's, according to whomever, a soulmate is somebody that you're supposed to meet with and be with for the rest of your life. A twin flame is an individual that is mirroring exactly you. But with that, when you have somebody that is so much like you, they will destroy you. Because you have that constant, like, you have so many similarities. There's that constant butting of energies, essentially.
Okay.
Because you're essentially with yourself.
Oh.
So the twin flame in my brain is an individual that's come into your life to teach you lessons. Not somebody to be with you for the rest of your life. Is somebody to help you, teach you lessons as far as
the twin flame.
What to expect moving forward, helping you grow, helping you learn lessons, helping you become a better person. And as far as the terms soulmate and twin flame, everybody's looking for that. Who is this guy my soulmate? Is this guy my twin flame? And I made a post the other day and asked a simple question. If you were dating somebody and you're asking another outside source, is this person my soulmate? If they say yes or no, is that going to change whether or not you're going to be with them? If they make you happy,
that's a good question. Because some people,
unhappy. If you're with somebody that makes you unhappy, if somebody says, hey, this is your soulmate, does that mean you're going to compromise who you are and what you want out of life because somebody told you they were your soulmate?
Well, that's another good question, because there are people who really look to others and other things for answers on how to live their own life. They look to, like, friends' opinions, because we all do it,
Everybody wants validation.
Yes, we look to self-help videos. We look to counseling. We look to psychic reads. We look... all of that, which is, it's good to do that, but I think if you get to a point where you don't even trust your own intuition and you're codependent on that outside, like for me, I listen and I'll gather it and I'll file it and then I'll weigh the pros and the cons.
Right.
And in the end, I do my best to trust my own intuition. A lot of times it's hard if we're hurting. Then we'll, it's kind of like when you're drunk and you need someone else to drive and take over. There are moments when if you're lost in it and you can't see the forest for the trees, it helps to get that outside. Hey, by the way, did you know that this is what's going on? Did you know?
Right.
And then you can go, oh. But for me, it's like I will take that and then I will address the person versus running from the person because everyone told me something.
Because somebody said this or because somebody said that. I had an individual, I was doing like really quick short reads on the page. I don't remember when it was. But the individual had asked...
Good for you, Diane.
Yeah, good job. The individual had asked me if the person that they were with was meant for them or something. Something to that effect. And I didn't
They wanted that as a read?
They wanted me to validate their relationship. And I asked her, are you happy? And she said yes. I said, does he treat you well? And she said yes. I said, so why are you questioning it?
And what'd she say?
Well, I just want validation. I said, why do you want validation for it if everything is going good? If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Unless, of course, you're not trusting your own intuition.
Right. And I'm like, let it flow. If you're happy and he's making you happy and he's treating you with respect and he's, doing all of the things that you want, you don't need my validation.
Yeah.
And that's been, prevalent in a lot of reads. People are like, well, is this person meant for me? Or is this person cheating on me? Well, if you're asking me if this person is cheating on you, then there's obviously some issues that's making you feel like this person's cheating on you. Maybe you should ask them.
Do you find with your reads, what's the majority of the things people ask? Is it more relationship bound? Is it more career? Like, what's my career going to be? Is it more, I need to talk, I want to know about, like, medium, they mix it in there with,
it's
a
kind
person
of
who's passed?
Kind of a mix of everything. Lately, I've been getting a lot of relationship stuff.
Okay.
And again, I don't necessarily 100% like to do relationship reads because there's two people involved and there's two people involved that have free will. So it's difficult.
Good answer.
It's difficult
that
for me to make that call for people.
A good answer. Wow.
It's
because
really
I think they're looking at you like the psychic of trying to foresee their future.
Right. And I can't do that.
And that's not what you do.
I can't.
That's not what you do.
Too much free will. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. And that's what I tell people when I do reads with
that's
them.
Such a good answer.
Understand and know that I can tell you where you've been. I can tell you what your path has been. I can tell you what path you're on right now. But I cannot tell you definitively what's going to happen in the future because you are in charge of that.
Correct.
Not me.
Now, you might be able to say, if you keep on the path you're in, I could see this as a formidable, but understand that the future is
But they
not
could do
set.
one decision in 1 minute.
And
they could change their entire existence.
Correct. Yeah.
So, and a lot of people want to have that, what's my future look like? I can tell you where you're at.
Are you just that lazy? Do you not want to study and take the test?
It's because it's about control. People want to have that aspect of control of, okay, where am I going to be? And people want me to say, okay, well, in this amount of time you're going to be doing this. I won't do that. I can't. I can tell you what I like. Individuals may ask, okay, am I going to have another baby? And I may, get
am I
something.
going to have another baby?
I can be like, well, I'm seeing 8, so it could be 8 months or whatever the case may be, but I can't definitively
it could be 8
say
babies
because there's so much
other
outside influences that change that. So that's why I don't really like doing relationship reads. I do them, but I try to refocus the individual back on themselves.
That's so good because that's the relationship they should really be focused on is themselves.
If an individual is having relationship problems, they need to look within themselves and not at the relationship because 90% of relationship problems are not relationship problems. They're individualized problems from the past.
Yeah, it's the past triggers the trauma that you're bringing into. And I mentioned this before too. Understand that in this day and age, I can't think of one person who's going to go into a relationship without baggage.
Right. Because
we're not all virgins, we're not 16, this isn't 1937, and the reasons behind why we get into relationships.
And the type of relationships.
Yeah, so it's a lot of it is really just self-reflecting and being honest with yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what...
do people get any of that out of their, like, when they have their reading today?
Oh, yeah. Lots. Like, I've had many reads where, they want general information or they want relationship information or they want career information. And all of the information that I end up giving them is information that's related to their past, information that's gotten them to the point where they're at. And then if the individual hasn't dealt with the traumas, those come up.
Gotcha.
A lot.
Gotcha.
It's amazing. I mean, not amazing in a good way, but it's
astounding.
Yes, because there's so much that people just don't want to deal with.
It.
I don't want to use the words, but there's so much negativity that people don't want to deal with, and they put it in the back burner. They They don't want to think about it. They don't want to talk about it. But I mean, and I tell this to everybody that I talk to that may not even have that kind of baggage or damage. As much as you feel like you're putting it away and you're not dealing with it, it's still there, pumpkin. There is no such thing as an unexpressed emotion. It's always going to come out. It's always going to come out. Regardless if it's black and white, okay, this is why I'm acting this way.
Yeah.
It may not be apparent, but this is why you're acting this way.
Yeah.
So...
And that's hard for people to hear.
Oh, yeah.
However, and that's why I think it's all in the delivery. Because, number one, it takes two things. It takes the person listening to be ready to hear it. And then it takes the person delivering it to deliver it in a way that's easily digestible on the soul. Because I've always said this, and rings true. This is what I was told. what I say to you means half as much as how you're going to receive it.
Right.
Because it depends on what space you're in, what space I'm in. So communication is more than just words.
Oh, yeah. Way more.
You have to hear with your, way more than just your ears. So, and that must come up a lot when you're doing reads.
Well, yeah, and especially now, because I've actually, instead of just doing short-term reads like 30 minutes or an hour, I've actually begun doing more spiritual / life coaching with people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I have 4 people on board with me right now. Doing it at a month at a time, just to kind of help, 1, with their pocketbooks, and 2, just to get them to see if this is something they want to continue with. But all of the individuals that I have been doing amazing. Like, they reach out to me even if they just want to vent, or if they have questions about spirituality, or if they have questions about their past, because I have a couple that have some past damage, and it takes a long time to get through that, and you can't get through that unless you're ready. So I'm that person that's kind of sitting in the back, like, okay, let me know when you're ready, and I can tell you what tools you can use to help you get past these things. But it's become so beneficial for them on a spiritual level, and just regular dealing with those demons. Because, you know, people tell you, hey, you need to deal with these things, but it's really difficult to do it by yourself.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it does take work, because however long it took for you to get that past trauma,
it's going to take twice as long.
It could, well, or even at least half as long. So understand that you need to be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
And you need to put in the work, and be forgiving to yourself.
Self-love is so important.
Well, and self-forgiveness. Those are like the
absolutely,
biggest keys.
because there's a lot of blame. That's what I've found in my time period of doing reads, not even just the month ones, but just reads in general, that people hold this guilt like it's their fault. Things happen, that's their fault. And it's getting them to understand that it's not their fault. And getting them to understand that they need to reach out to their inner child and chat with them. Be like, hey, I know that you're damaged, and I'm sorry. I know that you're damaged. It's not going to happen again. Working on that and working with that aspect, so helpful. But it's really hard to get to that point, because you're resurfacing everything all over again.
Wow, that's crazy. So then, okay, in wrapping this up, because there's so much great information here, we'll start with, like, what kind of advice, okay, I guess we just gave the advice. Where can people find you if they want to have a read, or have you visit their house and see if there's ghosts, or whatever it is you do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Where can they find you?
My page is, again, it's Psychic Exposure, why did I just draw a blank? Psychic Exposure Learning and Spiritual Growth. It's a page on Facebook. You should be able to search it. It's a public page.
And I'll make sure to post it when I post this video, and also in the podcast, I'll have a link on the podcast as well.
Yeah, and then my name on Facebook right now is Heaven Beatrice. I'm also on Mickey's Friends page. So if anybody wants to reach out to me to chat, want to schedule a read, want to have, just a random question, feel free to send me a private message. I might not be able to get back to immediately, but I do get back to people within a day or so. I am quite busy. Our group is growing very rapidly.
Congratulations on that. I know, in fact, the reason we're wrapping this up is you've got to read after this, so.
So things have been busy, but I do my best to get to everybody as quick as possible. So feel free to reach out to me whenever, even if it's just a simple question like, hey, what do I need to do to help me with protection, or what kind of stones can I get to help me with negativity? All of that stuff.
Yeah, stones. And I have all mine out on the thing.
I see them.
Yes, crystals and stones. And talk to her about that.
I have 3 of them on right now.
Right, I have 2 and 1 each in my ear. I didn't have my tourmaline on, and then about my ring that broke, my hematite. But we'll talk about that later.
Served its purpose.
It served its purpose. I was told I should either bury it or throw it out to sea. I think I might throw it out to sea.
I think that's a good idea.
That's a good one.
Because you need to go to the ocean again anyway.
I do, which I'm going to be doing soon. So, oh my God, Heaven, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
taking the time to be
Thank
here.
you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You shared a wealth of knowledge. Thank you. Again, the post will be below. And I hope any of this has resonated with those of you listening, and that it has inspired you as much as you inspire me on the daily. Remember, every day you wake up, you determine how your day will go. So manifest to be your best, and have a fabulous weekend.
Bye, guys.